Hello guys. Our 4.5 student notes is over sinusoidal function as mathematical models once again. This is the third time we're working on this. I will try to color code my graphs here and even my equations if possible. Everything regarding physical, I will mark them blue. Everything regarding emotional, I will have it red, and intellectual will be green. If you read the problem correctly, we have three different equations. One of them being physical, three different functions, physical, emotional, and intellectual. And the period is given for each. If I want to write the equation of each, I will need to know what b is. The value of b for the last one would be 2 pi over 33. For the middle one will be 2 pi over 28. And for the first one, it will be 2 pi over 23. With this, I will try to figure out what the equation is, or what the graph will look like. I'll start with the first one, which is physical. So my y-axis represents my physical, and this represents the number of days. So if I want to graph this one, I know that my amplitude is 100 units. So I will have 100 above and below. So this is 100 and this is 100. The equation will look like this, where this point is my period, knowing that this is 100 and this is negative 100. My period on the blue one is 23. So if this is 23, this halfway in between will be 11.5. Let's do the same thing for the next graph. For the next graph, I will have this again will be 100, and I will have also negative 100, and you will have the exact same shape of graph. The only difference is that the final point or the period is 28 and half of the period is 14, and this is still days, and this time our y-axis is for emotional. Doing the same thing for the last one, I will have this time intellectual, the highest point being 100, lowest point being negative 100, and once again we get the same type of shape. The only difference is the period, which is this time 33. Of course, these are days, and half of 33 is our 16.5. Let's go ahead and try to figure out the equation. For the last one, I will have y equals, since there's no up or down shift, I will just write 100 because I'm picking this point above here. I will do cosine, and my b is 2 pi over 33. There's no left and right shift, so I just put x. For our middle one, the equation will be y equals 100 cosine of the same concept, meaning b times x, 2 pi over 28x. Feel free to simplify this. And the very first one, the equation will have been y equals 100 cosine of 2 pi over 23 times x. Once again, I color coded for a reason. Now, let's look at b. It says 33 days from now, you will again be at an intellectual high point. What will be the value of your physical and emotional function on that day? 33 days represent an x value, so apparently x is equal to 33. We will try to find for physical. Let me write it this here. Physical. We will also look for emotional. And we will also look for intellectual. Well, we have the x value. What I will do is I will plug all these graphs on my calculator. After plugging all these graphs, all I need to do is find for x equal 33, what would be the value of y. So on my calculator, I put all equations, meaning, and mine is color coded as I mentioned earlier. So once I do this, I'll go on table set, and from my table set, I will request 33 for x and go back to the table. And it seems like for x, I will have negative 91.72. I will also have Again, this will be for your physical. Your emotional will be 43.388, and your last one, which is your intellectual, you will get 100. So the values are as follow: 100 here, you have 43.388 here, and the last one apparently was negative 91.7211. All right, let's look at C. For C now, it says, I'm gonna let you read, but what we're looking for is when the first time that it will happen for each of your physical, emotional, and so on. Now, this time we're looking for y equals 0. So on my graph again, I will graph the line y equals 0, or actually that would be the easiest thing. So if on the y equal, I will make sure I put 0 as well. The line y equals 0. And I will go ahead and zoom 0 it. And this is what I see. Well, it's taking a little time. But once it comes up, I will come back to the calculator in a minute. So I want to write physical. Once again, emotional and intellectual. I need to figure out for what the values for each. Now, going back to my calculator, it graphed the first one already. Here's the second one, and here's the third one. So we're trying to figure out what these values are. It seems like the red one, which is the middle one, is landing around 7, and that'll be for our emotional. That's in case you count. Now, what I will do is that I will do my second trace, and you got to be careful. I'll do 5. It's asking for intersect. I'll move it close to see which one I'm traveling on. Apparently, I'm traveling on the blue graph, which is my first one. I'll press enter, and it's trying to skip to the next graph, and that's not what I want. I want it to get on my pink line, which is my x-axis, and I press enter, and my answer seems to be at 5.75. So physical is at 5.75, and I will keep it color coded. This will be my 5.75, and of course that's in days. If you do the same thing for emotional, you will get 7 days, and for intellectual you should get 8.25 days. Now the next question says, how long will it be before you are at another high point on all 3 cycles? So to find where we are at another high point, all you got to do is go back on your calculator. Let's increase our x values. So under my windows, I will increase my x values to maybe, why not 50? And I want to increase also my y max so that I can see a little more. Let's make it to 150 and graph it. Our goal is to see when it reaches another high. So for the first one, this is the point we're looking for. This is just for the first graph. You can do them separately if you want, but you can do it for all. It seems like they will all reach the same, no, not quite the same high point. So if you notice, the high points are shifting. One of them is shifting. They may all start at 0, but they all shifting. I'm gonna let you do this. Actually, I'll do one with y'all. Why not? So what my job is to figure out what this high point is. So I will do second trace. After doing second trace, I'm looking for a maximum, so I'll put 4. It's asking me, it's blinking on the blue graph, so that's the one I want. If not, I can always change it. If I press my up and down button, it will change it to any other graph. So I will just do the physical. Now I will do the last one, meaning the green one. So every time I press down, it moves to the green one. It moves to the next graph. So because I'm looking for the maximum, I'll press enter here, and all I gotta do is move it all the way till it passed the highest point that I'm looking for. Press enter and enter. It tells me that the maximum is at 32.999, and I will round it to 33. So the maximum for the last function being intellectual, is at 32.999, or approximately 33. I expect you to do for the first 2 other functions. You will do not only you will do this, but you will also go ahead and bring the rest of it to class. That would be our worksheet.